Hello students, hello viewers, welcome to Senior College Mathematics. Topic of discussion is quadratic equations. If you are in senior college, you are preparing for WAEC, for NECO, for GC, for NAPTEP, for JAM, or any other external or entrance examinations into high school, this topic, this lesson is for you. Lesson 2, factorization method of solving quadratic equations. This is the simplest method of solving any quadratic equations where possible, because it is not all quadratic equations that can be factorized. Consider the general form of ax squared plus bs plus c equal to 0, where a equal to coefficient of s squared, b coefficient of s, and c the constant term. In applying this method, it involves two ways. Number one, when the coefficient of s squared is unitary. Unitary means when the coefficient of s squared is 1. If it is 1, find two factors of c, that is the constant term, which can give b the middle term when added. Two factors of the third term, the constant term c, which can give the middle term b when added. The second approach is when the coefficient of s squared is not unitary, when it is not 1. Of course, you know minus 1 is not 1, so minus 1 is inclusive in this approach. Then you look for AC. Whenever A is not equal to 1, you find the product of A and C. After that, you find two factors whose product is AC and the sum is B, that is the middle term. Two factors whose product is AC and the sum is B, the middle term. So we apply these two approaches to see how we can factorize quadratic equations that can be solved by the method of factorization. Hello. Examples: solve the following equations by the method of factorization. Example 3, you have 4s squared minus 9 equal to 0. So solution, this is the given problem. Now the equation is quadratic, but the terms are not 3 terms. So actually we cannot apply the usual method of factorization, although we can factorize, but we have to see this as difference of two squares. For example, an expression of this form, a squared minus b squared, is referred to as difference of two squared, and when factorized you have this result. You write the two terms in two brackets and you separate them with minus plus or plus minus. If we relate the given problem with this, it means that the first term must be squared completely and the second term must be squared as well. So for us to have that, we have to express 4 as 2 squared. When you factor out power of 2, then you have 2s all squared. you express 9 as 3 squared. So you have 2s all squared minus 3 squared equal to 0. So we are good to go. So we write the two terms 2s and 3 in two brackets and separate them with minus and plus. We are asked to solve. So when solving, you equate the two brackets to 0. So you have 2s minus 3 equal to 0, or 2s plus 3 equal to 0. You equate each of the bracket to the right hand side 0 respectively. So to continue, you have to transfer the constant term to the right hand side. From the first linear equation, if you transfer minus 3, you have 2s equal to 3. And from the second linear equation, when you transfer plus 3, you have s equal to minus 3. When this term cross over here, it becomes negative. So to get s, you divide both sides by 2. So you have s equal to 3 over 2 or minus 3 over 2. If you expressed in mixed fractions, you have s equal to one whole number 1 over 2 or minus one whole number 1 over 2. As a matter of fact, I refer to expression as incomplete quadratic square expression. That is expression such as 4s squared minus 9 when the terms are not 3. I refer to them as incomplete quadratic expression or equation. So once you have them in this form, one thing you must think about is difference of two squares. Difference of two squares. You must think about that. Hello. Example 4. Factorize s squared minus 3s minus 10 equal to 0. We have to go by the first approach or first way because a is equal to 1. That is coefficient of s squared. B is equal to minus 3, the coefficient of s, and C, the constant term, is equal to minus 10. Minus 10. Alright, so we look for two factors of 10. First, we are considering this without the minus sign. Of course, it must be there as time goes on. To achieve that easily, we try to list out the pair of factors of 10, and the only pairs we have are 1 times 10 and 2 times 10. So from these two pairs, you look for the pair that the product is minus 10 and the sum is minus 3. Of course, you know to achieve that we think of assigning negative sign to the factor. So for 5 and 2, we can have it in this form. The first number in the pair can make it negative and second one positive. Then the first number positive, the second one is negative, then both negative. And you do the same to the other pair, 10 and 1. From the look of things, it is 2 and 5 that can help us to achieve it. So the question is, for you to have minus 3 first, between 2 and 5, which one should be negative? You must think about these things. I want that if I add 2 and 5, I should have minus 3. To achieve that, the highest factor 2, the highest factor 5 is made negative. So that minus 5 plus 2 is minus 3, or plus 2 minus 5 is minus 3. And when you multiply 2 and minus 5, you also have minus 10. So this is the pair that satisfy what we need. So the pair that will give b equal to minus 3 is minus 5 and 2. So what we do is that we replace the middle term minus 3s with minus 5 and 2 in s. You attach s. Hence, we have s squared minus 5s plus 2s minus 10 equal to 0. The purpose is to have 4 terms so that we factorize by grouping. Factorize by grouping. So the first two terms, s squared minus 5s, one group. The last two terms, 2s minus 10, another group. Then you equate to 0. I will advise that even though, or let's assume 2s is negative, always separate the two groups with a plus sign. From the first group, s is common. When you factor it out, you are left with s minus 5. From the second group, 2 is common. When you factor it out, you have s minus 5 as well. You must know that the term you factored out, you use it to divide each term in the bracket. So you have 2s divided by 2. If you divide this 2s by 2, you have s divide minus 10 by 2 that you factor out, you have minus 5. That is what actually happened. At this point, you should know that the brackets resulting from the grouping of terms must be the same. Is a must. So you can see s minus 5, s minus 5. So when you factor it out, you have s plus 2 in one group, s minus 5 in the other group. So you equate each bracket to 0. When you transfer the constant term, you have s equal to minus 2 or 5. If you transfer plus 2 to the right hand side, it becomes negative. If you transfer minus 5 to the right hand side, it becomes positive. That is why s is equal to minus 2 or 5. Hello. Example 5, factorize s squared plus 4s minus 32 equal to 0. When we compare with the other form of as squared plus bs plus c equal to 0, you understand that a is equal to 1, coefficient of s squared, b is equal to 4, coefficient of s, and c is minus 32, the constant term. So let's get a pair of factors of 32. The first pair 1 times 32, the second pair 2 times 16, the third pair 4 times 8. So we arrange these pairs by attaching negative and positive sign to see the pair whose product is minus 32 and the sum is 4. So you can see now I've attached minus, plus, minus, minus to all the pairs of factors. When you look at them critically, you will agree with me that the pair that will give us 4 when added, that's the first concern first, that pair is minus 4 and 8. And of course, when you multiply minus 4 by 8, you will have minus 32. So we replace the middle term using the possible factors in s. So we have s squared minus 4s plus 8s minus 32 equal to 0. The purpose again is to get 4 terms so that we group them in twos and factorize. The first 2 terms, first group, the last 2 terms, second group. From the first group, s is common. If you factor out s, you are left with s minus 4. From the second group, 8 is common. When you factor it out, you have 8, you have s minus 4 equal to 0. Remember I said that the term you factored out is used to divide each term in the bracket. S minus 4 is common from that expression. So when you take it out, you have s plus 8. We form one group, and s minus 4, you equate it to 0. Then you equate each bracket to 0. So you have s plus 8 equal to 0, or s minus 4 equal to 0. When you transfer the constants plus 8 and minus 4 respectively, you have s equal to minus 8 or 4. Hello. Example 6. Factorize bracket open t plus 2 bracket close all squared equal to 16. So for us to factor, you understand that from the beginning, the right hand side is always 0. It's always 0. So for us to achieve that here, first we need to remove the bracket from the left hand side by expanding it. The square means you write t plus 2 times, then equal to 16. So when you expand, you have t squared plus 4t plus 4 equal to 16. To make the right hand side 0, you have to transfer plus 16 to the left hand side, and it becomes minus 16. So we have t squared plus 4t plus 4 minus 16. Plus 4 minus 16 is minus 12. So you have t squared plus 4t minus 12 equal to 0. From the previous analysis, the possible factor here are 6 and minus 2, which we use to replace the middle term in t. So we have t squared plus 6t minus 2t minus 12 equal to 0. The first 2 terms, first group, then plus the last 2 terms, second group, equal to 0. You can see that this place is minus, but we put everything in bracket. If you decide to take that minus in the place of plus here, it will affect the terms in the second bracket, and most students usually confuse this aspect. So what I do is that I separate the 2 groups with a plus sign. So when factorizing, you deal with that. From the first group, t is common. When you factor it out and divide t squared and 6t by t that you factored out, you have t plus 6 remaining. Now from the first group, if you work the first bracket, t there is positive, and we should have the same thing from the second group. Hence you factor out minus then 2, because 2 is common to 2t and minus 12. So you factor out minus 2. If you divide minus 2t by minus 2, you have t. If you divide minus 12 by minus 2, you have plus 6, because if you divide a negative number by a negative number, the result is positive. You equate everything to 0. You say that t plus 6 is common. When factored out, you have t minus 2 in one bracket, then t plus 6 that is common. You equate everything to 0. So you have t minus 2 equal to 0, or t plus 6 equal to 0. When you transfer the constants minus 2 and plus 6 to the right hand side respectively, you have t equal to 2 or minus 6. Are you still there? Example 7, we have 10s squared plus 3s minus 4 equal to 0. When you compare, you see that a is equal to 10, coefficient of s squared. B is equal to 3, coefficient of s, and c is equal to minus 4. So we go by the second approach, since a is not equal to 1. And when a is not equal to 1, you look for AC. That is a times c. 4 times 10 times minus 4. 10 times minus 4. So AC is equal to minus 40. So we look for the factors of AC that the product is C. The product is minus 40 and the sum is 3. To achieve that, we have to list out all the pairs of factors of 40. So you have 1 times 40, 2 times 20, 4 times 10, and 5 times 8. When you adjust them by assigning the first number negative, the second number positive, then the first number positive and the second number negative, both numbers positive, both numbers negative. If you do that to all the pairs of factors, you will understand that the one that the sum is 3, that is B now, it can only be minus 5, then 8. And of course, the product will be minus 40. So that is the pair of factors whose product is AC, minus 40, and the sum is B, 3. So we replace the middle term with the factors in S. The middle term contains S. Okay, so you have 10s squared minus 5s plus 8s now. So these are the factors minus the constant term equal to 0. Now that we have 4 terms, you group them. The first 2 terms, one group, the last 2 terms, the other group, equal to 0. From the first group, 5s is common, so you divide 10s squared and minus 5s by 5s. When you do that, you have 2s minus 1. Then plus, from the second group, 4 is common. If you divide 8s and minus 4 by the 4 you factored out, you also have 2s minus 1. Everything equal to 0. Clearly, 2s minus 1 is common. If you factor it out again, you are left with 4s plus 5s plus 4. You are left with 5s plus 4. Then you equate everything to 0. You equate each bracket to 0. So you have 5s plus 4 equal to 0, or 2s minus 1 equal to 0. When you transfer the constant term plus 4 to the right hand side, you have 4s, 5s equal to minus 4. 5s equal to minus 4. When you transfer minus 1 to the right hand side, you have 2s equal to 1. So you divide both sides. in this linear equation by 5. So you have s equal to minus 4 over 5. You divide both sides here by 2 and you have 1 over 2. Therefore, s is equal to minus 4 over 5 or 1 over 2. Are you there? Example 8. Factorize 21s squared minus 25s equal to 4. Solution. Before we can factorize, we must ensure that the right hand side is equal to 0. To achieve that, you need to transfer plus 4 to the left hand side. And when you do that, it becomes minus 4. So we have 21s squared minus 25s minus 4 equal to 0. What we do next is to compare this with the general quadratic equation form of as squared plus bs plus c equal to 0. It follows that a is equal to 21, coefficient of s squared, b is equal to minus 25, coefficient of s, and c is equal to minus 4, the constant term. We go by the second approach. Since the coefficient of a is not equal to 1, you look for ac. ac is the product of 21 and minus 4, and that is 84. To continue, we look for pair of factors of 84. 84. Remember, what we have here is minus 84, but we consider the positive pair of factors of 84 first. Later, we adjust by adding minus plus to get the required conditions. The first pair of factor is 1 times 84. The second is 2 times 42. Next is 3 times 28. The next one is 4 times 21, followed by 6 times 14, and the last is 7 times 12. Critical looks reveals that this pair of factor will satisfy the required condition if 28 becomes negative and 3 is positive, because plus 3 minus 28 is minus 25. That is this term, and plus 3 times 28, that is negative, that is plus 3 times minus 28 is minus 84. What we do is to write the pair of factors in terms of s and use it to replace the middle term in this form. Then you equate it to 0. The terms are now 4. Next thing we do is to group them, 2's in each group. The first 2 terms is the first group. The last 2 terms is the second group. You ensure that you separate the 2 groups with a plus sign. Looking at 21s squared and 3s in the first group, you can factor out 3s. 3s is common. So you divide 21s squared by 3s, you have 7s. Divide 3s by 3s, you have plus 1. From the second group, minus 4 is common. You divide minus 28s by minus 4, you have 7s. You divide minus 4 by minus 4, you have plus 1, because when you divide a negative number by a negative number, the result is positive. Everything equal to 0. Clearly, 7s plus 1 is common. you factor it out as the second group or first group, and it follows that 3s minus 4 is common. That forms the first group. You equate each group to 0. That is, 3s minus 4 is equal to 0, or 7s plus 1 equal to 0. To solve the resulting linear equations, you transfer the constant terms respectively to the right hand side. If you transfer minus 4 in the first linear equation, you have 3s equal to 4. If you transfer plus 1 in the second linear equation, you have 7s equal to minus 1. In the first linear equation, you divide both sides by 3, and you have s equal to 4 over 3 in this form. In the second linear equation, you divide both sides by 7, and you have s equal to minus 1 over 7. Therefore, s is equal to 4 over 3, or minus 1 over 7. Hello. End of lesson 2. Thanks for watching and learning. Don't forget, watch out for more from the voice of Petakus. Lastly, if you are not safe, your life is in crisis. To avoid that, give your life to the one that can save you, and that is the Lord Jesus Christ, and confess him as your Lord and personal Savior every day of your life. If you are saved already, congratulations. Live righteously and be prepared, because on the last day, some will be taken and some will be left. Take good care of yourself. Stay out of trouble. Study your books. Do the needful at all times. Flee every appearance of evil. Don't defraud others to make money. Use your hands and your brain to work genuinely and legally, and the Lord will bless you. Goodbye.